There are moments in your journey when you must understand that not everything about your life deserves an audience. One of the greatest weaknesses a person can have is the need to be seen, the need to be heard, the need to be constantly validated by the applause and approval of people who do not even understand the weight of your destiny. Many destinies have been aborted, not because the enemy was too strong, but because the individual was too loud. There is a level of greatness that requires silence, a level of progress that demands secrecy, a level of promotion that only survives in quiet places. When you expose everything happening in your life, you give people legal access into what God is still forming. Anything that is still growing needs protection, and privacy is that protection. Life has shown again and again that the most dangerous attacks do not come from strangers lurking in the shadows. They come from information you personally handed out. Every time you speak carelessly, you open a gate. Every time you announce prematurely, you weaken what should have matured in the secret place. And many people do not know that the enemy is not omniscient. He cannot know what you do not reveal. Sometimes your silence is not just wisdom, it is spiritual warfare. Your silence becomes a shield. Your silence becomes a strategy. Your silence becomes an instruction that heaven uses to guard what is being built within you. There are people who love you sincerely, but they cannot handle the details of your life. There are people who admire you, but their hearts are not yet trained to celebrate you without becoming threatened. When you speak too much, you place unnecessary pressure on relationships that were never designed to carry the weight of your journey. Some connections are peaceful only because you are quiet. Some friendships survive only because you withhold certain details. The maturity of your destiny requires the discipline to say, this part of my life belongs to God and me alone. Not out of pride, not out of fear, but out of an understanding that privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is stewardship. There are plans God gives you in whispers, and those whispers are not meant to be shouted on rooftops. Some instructions are delicate because they are connected to a season. When you reveal a divine instruction before its time, you invite opinions, discouragement, jealousy, and spiritual interference. People begin to speak into what they did not hear God say. They begin to give advice on matters they were never assigned to carry. And if you lack the maturity to filter their voices, you may abandon what heaven entrusted to you simply because you expose it to too many voices. Privacy is not an attempt to isolate yourself. It is an act of honoring what is sacred. Your dreams need time to incubate. Your transformation needs a safe place to mature. Your victory should sometimes remain between you and the God who gave them. You must resist the temptation to document every season publicly. Not all progress is meant to be displayed. There are breakthroughs that become more powerful when they are hidden until the appointed time. And the truth is, people remember what you say. They watch your life. They take mental notes. Some celebrate you, but some are silently competing with you. Some are silently studying you. And when you overshare, you give them weapons they will later use to attack you. Your privacy is not selfishness. It is power, it is protection, it is wisdom. It is the discipline to say, before God finishes this chapter, I will not give anyone the pen. When you learn this discipline, you will see that many battles you used to fight will disappear. Not because the enemy left, but because you stopped giving him information to work with. Silence will guard you. Privacy will preserve you. And secrecy will strengthen what God is growing within you. There is a mystery you must understand. Exposure attracts warfare, but secrecy preserves destiny. Many battles in your life did not start because you were wrong or because the enemy suddenly became powerful. They began the day you revealed something that was meant to remain between you and God. Every destiny has an appointed time, and when you reveal something before its season, you make it vulnerable to forces that were never supposed to touch it. The enemy fights what he sees, he attacks what he hears, he monitors what you announce, what you hide wisely becomes protected until the moment God chooses to unveil it himself. There are breakthroughs you lost because you celebrated too early. There are divine ideas that died because you explained them too openly. There are relationships that collapse because you introduced them too broadly. Exposure brings attention, and attention brings battles. But when you learn the power of secrecy, you move with a grace that frustrates the plans of darkness. Some people do not attack you out of wickedness. They attack you out of information. They simply knew too much. And if you trace the origin of many spiritual attacks, you will discover they began the day your lips became too open. Whenever something important is about to happen in your life, the spirit realm becomes sensitive. Angels begin to move. Divine alignments begin to shift. Heaven begins to arrange new opportunities. But if you speak carelessly, you make it easy for darkness to interfere. Even scripture shows that major destinies were always hidden. Moses was hidden as a baby. Jesus was taken into Egypt secretly. And many prophets received instructions in silence. Heaven hides what is precious because anything exposed prematurely becomes vulnerable. When you keep your plans private, you give God room to work without interruption. There is a kind of silence that becomes a spiritual covering, a shield that confuses the enemy. When your movements cannot be predicted, your efforts cannot be stopped. When your intentions are concealed, your progress becomes unstoppable. The enemy cannot destroy what he cannot trace, and he cannot trace what you do not expose. Some people wonder why their progress always attracts resistance. They do not realize that they are the ones broadcasting every step, every dream, every open door. And the more they expose, the more battles they invite. Secrecy is not fear, it is strategy. It is understanding that the womb of destiny is a private place. Every great thing grows quietly. Seeds grow on the ground. Babies grow in the womb. Ideas grow in the heart. Nothing becomes great by being exposed at the stage of infancy. Many people rush to announce blessings before thanking God for them. They rush to reveal plans before strengthening them. They rush to show results before understanding them. But destiny does not reward the impatient. Destiny rewards those who know when to speak and when to stay silent. There are levels of growth that require you to walk quietly. There are blessings God gives you that require you to guard them with discipline. And sometimes silence is your only safety. When you hide long enough, you grow strong enough. When you stay quiet long enough, you become wise enough. And when the time of manifestation finally comes, no force can stop what heaven has fully prepared. If you want to reduce attacks, reduce exposure. If you want to protect your destiny, protect your secrets. If you want to move forward with clarity, move quietly. You must learn that not every blessing is for public display. Not every miracle is for public testimony. Not every plan is for public analysis. What you hide in God's shadow becomes unstoppable in God's timing. Your privacy is your shield. Your silence is your covering. And your secrecy is the strategy that preserves what God is building in you. Privacy has a way of revealing truth that noise can never show. When you learn to keep your life private, you begin to observe people without the distraction of their reactions to your success or the details of your journey. Privacy helps you discern real friends from hidden enemies. Because when people know less, their intentions become clearer. The more silent you become, the more the hearts of those around you are exposed. Some people only celebrate you as long as they feel they have control over your progress. Some stay close only because they think they know everything happening in your life. But when you withdraw information, when you stop feeding them constant updates, suddenly their true motives begin to surface. You will notice that some people become uncomfortable when they cannot monitor you. Others grow distant, not because you wronged them, but because they were never truly connected to you. They were connected to the information you provided. Privacy becomes a filter. It separates those who love you genuinely from those who only love the access you give them. There are people who appear loyal as long as they are the first to know your plans, the first to hear your testimonies, the first to see your next move. But the day you choose silence, the day you choose to grow quietly, they begin to feel threatened because your silence takes away their imagined influence over your life. You will be shocked how some friendships lose their strength the moment you stop oversharing, not because you change, but because their loyalty was rooted in curiosity, not connection. They were sustained by information, not relationship. When people can no longer predict your next step, they become restless. And in their restlessness, their real intentions leak out. Privacy does not only protect your journey, it reveals who is truly walking with you. Silence becomes a spiritual magnifying glass. In stillness, motives become clear. In secrecy, hearts reveal themselves. Some people in your life are destiny helpers, but some are destiny monitors. They don't support you, they just study you. And if you are not careful, you will mistake their attention for affection. You will mistake their curiosity for care. But when you choose privacy, you force them to show whether they truly care about you or they only care about the information you carry. The people who genuinely value you will remain even when they don't have access to every detail. They don't need to know your every plan to love you. They don't need to hear your every idea to stand with you. True friends honor boundaries. False ones are offended by them. Privacy also teaches you emotional discipline. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you stop depending on unnecessary validation. You stop living for applause. You stop carrying the weight of keeping everyone updated. Instead, you begin to watch, you observe, you evaluate. And in that quiet space, God opens your eyes to see who is truly for you. Some people only draw close when you are struggling because they enjoy being needed. Others become distant when you rise because your success exposes their insecurity. But when your life becomes private, you give them nothing to manipulate. You give them nothing to twist. You starve their curiosity, and in that starvation, truth emerges. Privacy empowers you to protect your heart. It eliminates unnecessary disappointments. It guards you from betrayal by limiting who has access to your vulnerabilities. Sometimes you are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being attacked because the wrong person knew the wrong thing at the wrong time. But when you choose to walk in quiet wisdom, every relationship around you naturally reveals its strength or its weakness. Your privacy is not just a barrier, it is a revelation. It shows you who stands with you when they no longer have access to your secrets. It reveals who is genuine when they have nothing to gain. And once you see the truth, you begin to walk with a level of clarity, peace, and emotional freedom that only secrecy can produce. There is a danger in speaking too early. A danger many people never recognize until they have lost what they were trying to build. Your plans lose power when shared prematurely, because every divine idea, every assignment, every dream is born in a fragile state. When God plants something in your heart, it comes as a seed, small, delicate, and easy to crush. And the moment you expose that seed to unnecessary voices, opinions, and expectations, you allow people to interfere with what heaven is still forming. Some battles you are fighting today are not because your plan was wrong, but because you revealed it before it matured. Premature exposure invites resistance you were never supposed to face. There are people who, upon hearing your plans, will begin to project their fears onto you. They tell you what cannot work, who you are not, what you don't have, and why you should stay where you are. Their words may seem harmless, but the wrong voice at the wrong time can suffocate a divine instruction. You must learn that silence is often the only way to protect the purity of your assignment. Some ideas need to breathe without interruption. Some visions need to be nurtured without scrutiny. When you share too early, you invite opinions that pollute clarity. You give access to voices that were never meant to influence your direction. And it's not just discouragement. You risk sometimes sharing prematurely awakens jealousy. Some people can celebrate a testimony, but they cannot celebrate a vision. They are fine as long as nothing is happening yet. But the moment you start announcing what you will do, who you will become, where you are going, they become threatened because your ambition confronts their complacency. Your announcement creates discomfort in people who never expected you to rise. Their jealousy becomes subtle sabotage. Their words become seeds of doubt. Their presence becomes a source of distraction. But all of it started because you revealed too much too soon. Premature talking also weakens your momentum. The more you speak about a plan, the more your mind feels satisfied as if the work is already done. Many people lose discipline because they talk more than they build. They gain temporary excitement from applause instead of long-term strength from consistency. You must learn the discipline of doing more and saying less. Let your progress speak. Let your results speak. Let your growth announce itself in due season. Some of the greatest achievements are born in silence and revealed only when they can no longer be stopped. There are times when your plan is not the problem, your timing is. God often gives instructions privately because he wants you to grow into them before the world sees them. When you share too early, you step into a realm of pressure that you are not yet prepared for. People begin to expect results. You have not yet developed the capacity to produce. Their expectations become weight, and that weight can crush the vision before it matures. Privacy gives you room to grow without judgment. It gives you time to correct mistakes quietly. It gives you space to change direction without public embarrassment. Every divine plan needs a season of hidden development. When you honor the silence of preparation, your manifestation becomes powerful. Nothing is as strong as a plan that has been built privately, tested quietly, strengthened secretly, and revealed only in fullness. You owe it to your destiny to guard what God gives you until it is ready. You owe it to your future to protect your dreams from premature exposure. You owe it to yourself to let your actions announce what your words once carried. Speak less, build more. Hide your plans until they have gained enough strength to stand without explanation. Because the moment you talk too soon, you weaken what heaven designed to be unstoppable. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Silence is not fear, it is strategy. Your dreams deserve protection, and your destiny deserves secrecy until the appointed time. Every great man, every great woman, every great destiny is shaped in quiet places. There is a sacredness to secrecy that many people never understand, because we live in a world obsessed with visibility. Everyone wants to be seen, to be recognized, to be acknowledged for every small step they take. But destiny does not grow in the noise of public attention. It grows in the silence of private obedience. Before any life becomes impactful, it is processed in hidden seasons where no one applauds, no one notices, and no one celebrates. These invisible seasons are not punishment, they are preparation. They are the tools God uses to strengthen you for what is coming. When you look at people who carry unusual strength, depth, or wisdom, it is not because life favored them differently. It is because they embrace the discipline of growing in silence. They allowed God to work on their character privately. They allowed him to purge their motives privately. They allowed him to break them, rebuild them, correct them, and instruct them away from the eyes of men. Greatness is never an accident. It is formed in the secret place. And until you value the quiet seasons of your life, you will not understand the power they carry. There are seasons when nothing seems to be happening externally, yet those are the very seasons when everything is happening internally. While others are rushing for exposure, you are learning patience. While others are fighting for attention, you are developing discipline. While others are chasing validation, you are building capacity. And one day, when the time for manifestation comes, It will not be your visibility that makes you stand out. It will be the depth that was formed when no one was watching. Hidden seasons are God's classroom. That is where you learn the lessons that public life will demand. You learn humility because you cannot hide and still be proud. You learn resilience because quiet seasons force you to confront your weaknesses. You learn discernment because silence sharpens your spiritual hearing. You learn focus because without the noise of people's opinions, you can finally hear God clearly. These hidden lessons cannot be taught under the spotlight. They can only be taught in the secret place. And the truth is, God hides you not to deprive you, but to protect you. He hides you so that you do not become prematurely celebrated. He hides you so that the weight of destiny does not crush you before you grow strong enough to carry it. He hides you because what is building in you takes time. An exposure too early will destroy what is still developing. Greatness requires incubation, and incubation requires secrecy. Think about how seeds grow. They do not grow in sunlight first. They grow underground, in darkness, in silence, far away from attention. Only when the roots are strong enough do they break through the surface. In the same way, your destiny needs that underground season where roots are forming, roots of character, wisdom, integrity, and strength. Without those roots, you may rise quickly, but you will fall even faster. Hidden seasons ensure that your rise is sustainable. Many people want the crown, but not the cave. They want influence without preparation. They want destiny without discipline. But those who become truly great are those who embrace obscurity as part of the process. They understand that before God shows you to the world, he must first show you to yourself. Before he elevates you, he must first refine you. Before he gives you a platform, he must first build a foundation. Do not despise your quiet season. Do not rush out of your hiding place. Do not be frustrated because no one sees you yet. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. The silence around your life is not emptiness, it is divine construction. And when the appointed time comes, when God finally unveils what is shaped in secret, people will admire the glory, but they will never understand the story, because greatness grows in private before it shines in public. Your hidden season is proof that God is preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine. There are moments in your journey when the greatest expression of wisdom is silence. The more you talk, the more you delay what God wants to do, because unnecessary speech has a way of scattering your focus, exposing your steps, and inviting voices that were never meant to have influence in your destiny. Silence is not the absence of activity, it is the presence of alignment. It is the deliberate choice to allow God to speak louder than people, to let instruction weigh more than opinion, to let purpose rise above pressure. When you learn to quiet your spirit and quiet your surroundings, you make room for clarity, for direction, and for supernatural acceleration. Many people speak themselves out of divine timing. They talk so much about what they plan to do that they never truly do it. Their energy is wasted in describing instead of becoming. Their momentum is lost in conversation instead of execution. There is a kind of silence that restores strength, because every time you close your mouth, you sharpen your mind. Every time you withhold an unnecessary explanation, you preserve your emotional energy. Destiny demands concentration, and concentration thrives in silence. Sometimes God is ready to move, but you are too distracted by your own voice to notice his instructions. Silence also makes you unpredictable to the enemy. The adversary does not need to be powerful when you are loud. He only needs to listen. Many spiritual attacks began not because darkness was watching, but because you were announcing. Unnecessary speech becomes a map the enemy uses to track your progress. But when you choose silence, your movements become hidden. Your transitions become protected. Your breakthroughs become invisible until they are irreversible. The enemy cannot sabotage what he cannot trace, and he cannot trace what you do not reveal. Silence becomes a spiritual covering over your next season. There is also a dimension of spiritual maturity that silence creates. When you stop talking excessively, you stop reacting excessively, you stop defending yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop explaining your process to those who have not earned the right to hear it. Your emotions settle, your perspective aligns, your faith deepens. It is in silence that God heals wounds that noise keeps open. It is in silence that he whispers the instructions that shape your future. Some of the clearest revelations you will ever receive come in seasons where you choose to be still. And there is a type of silence that cultivates honor. When you refuse to broadcast your pain, you learn patience. When you stop announcing your battles, you learn resilience. When you choose not to expose the weaknesses of others, you learn character. Silence trains the heart in ways noise never can. It teaches you to watch more and speak less, to discern before reacting, to pray before responding. You begin to realize that not every truth deserves airtime. Not every emotion deserves expression. Not every thought deserves a microphone. Silence becomes discipline, and discipline becomes strength. Your silence also gives God room to fight for you. Sometimes he wants to vindicate you, but you are too busy trying to vindicate yourself. He wants to open doors for you, but you are too busy talking about the ones that are closed. He wants to reveal your next step, but you are too busy debating your current one with people who do not carry the grace to advise you. When you choose silence, heaven begins to speak on your behalf. Doors open quietly. Favor moves silently. Breakthroughs happen without announcement. Suddenly you find yourself in places you never told anyone you were reaching for. In the end, silence is not emptiness, it is elevation. It is the strategic pause that allows destiny to align itself without interference. It is the posture that tells God you trust his timing more than your need to be heard. The more you talk, the more you leak strength. But the more you stay silent in seasons where silence is required, the more you attract wisdom, honor, and supernatural progress. Let your silence become a weapon. Let it become a shield. Let it become a statement of confidence that what God is doing in your life cannot be stopped, cannot be rushed, and does not need to be announced until he says it is time.